All right, thank you everybody for coming to this debate where our esteemed president has decided to blow up people or blow up sentient beings that have done nothing wrong, which is always a sign of good president. Saw that from 2000 to 2008. Good times. Anyway, moving on. The point I'd like to make is that we're looking at a case that humans have not experienced before. So you can't base this off of what may have happened to the Native Americans, what may have happened in human life forms. We're talking about an entirely different group of people, a entirely different group of beings who have had no contact. And the main thing that we'd like to address here is that we're going to focus on two different angles here. First is the economic or the sort of self-preservation angle that John and Neil are sort of going at. But then the second, our second contention will be about the human/alien rights implications of this, and just what us trying to shoot them down would mean in terms of who we are as a species. So I'll start with the economic issue, move on to the human rights issue, and then move on to address some of the points that John made. Regarding the economic issue, what John did not address is the fact that what if we try to shoot them down and we fail, which is a very real possibility, given that we're dealing with a species that was able to find us, has a ship that could get to us within the time that the aliens are still alive. Because, I mean, humans at this point have no technology. If we can't get to the nearest star system without everyone on board dying due to their life expectancy. So odds are they probably have pretty good weapons also. Even if not weapons, the ships probably have shields to protect them from asteroids and traveling through space. I don't know. But if you try to shoot them down and fail, then you're making a first impression that you're going to try to blow them up, neutralize the alien threat, as John said, which is not something that you want to do when this civilization has shown no signs of warlike activity yet. Now, the government has decided to assume that they are warlike and want to attack, but what you have to really look at is think about it if we as a species were in the position of visiting another planet, would we be going there and trying to blow up a civilization that we found? And I have enough faith in humanity to say that we would go there and we'd try to communicate with them. I mean, at least at first. So I think that's something that the government doesn't take into effect at all. What happens if you shoot them down and fail? Because then you could have a situation where the humans are threatened, and it wouldn't necessarily have had to have been the case. The other point that needs to be made in this sort of self-preservation is that there's a lot more to gain from peace than war. War is, by definition, the act of destruction between two forces. So all you get is destruction. Now, while the government essentially just threw away the idea of peaceful coexistence, which they did without any basis in reasoning, because the aliens haven't made any warlike action yet. So that cannot be taken as an assumption. And in fact, I would argue that you have to take it as an assumption that the aliens will be peaceful because they haven't attacked us yet. And until that's proven otherwise, you have to go on that. And through peace, there's a lot to gain. I mean, there are, again, alien technologies. Who knows what they have? Again, they've managed to travel in a much greater span of space and everything than we have in our existence. So there's clearly a lot that we can learn from them. And even just knowing that there's other life out there and being able to discuss with them what that's like is a great benefit that can't just be blown away with a red button. So now moving on to the second contention here about the idea of human and alien rights. Basically, I'll just go through this quickly. We generally give to each being, we generally give sentient beings a level of respect that's greater than, that's equal to our own. And these aliens, again, with their technology, are clearly sentient. They clearly know what's going on. They are clearly at least on par with humans. And given that that's the case, we can't discriminate against them. by blowing them up. That is actually like the government's treatment of Native Americans, to go back to John's example. But and again, it goes back to trying to make a good first impression. You have to make an impression that you're looking to be peaceful and show respect. And that's a crucial element, because if you don't do that, then again, the odds are that they're more advanced than we are. So you have to show the respect. But the final point in this argument is that, what does it say about the human race that a society that comes and does nothing against us, we would try to blow to pieces? And what does that say about where humans are in their progress? Because obviously, I mean, if you look at what the ideal situation would be, humans have never, I mean, we've always had wars. But we've slowly been progressing away from that. And that's a progress that I think we can all in this room agree is a good thing. And if we try to blow these aliens out of the sky, then we're violating that. And we're just throwing away everything that we've worked for over the past 2,000 years. So, moving on to John's arguments, I just want to quickly address his points. That his argument is generally the idea that these aliens pose a threat to human sovereignty, and that we as humans need to protect our species, and that is greater than the rights of these aliens. That's essentially what this debate boils down to. And he uses these threats of a biohazard, maybe nanites. But again, these are things we don't know yet. I know he said that we have to, we've waited all the time that we can to see what these threats are. But again, we have if these aliens were warlike, why would they only send one ship? I mean, John, I guess he does use the example of nanites, but that's, again, an assumption that we have no idea about. And right now, all we can really assume is that they haven't shot at us yet. So, go with that. And then, moving on, he also brings up the point then that essentially, if they're peaceful or inferior, then we aren't risking anything through aggressive action. But that's not the case. As I mentioned before, again, peaceful existence is always a better option than existence through war. And if they are peaceful and we shoot at them, they could become aggressive. And I'll go back to the example, if humans one day go to another planet and discover sentient life forms, then you'd have a case where we would not shoot them right away, but if we were shot at, we would shoot back. And that's the only way you can really grasp this situation, is to look at what it would be like for us if we were the alien ship going to another planet. And I think when you look at it that way, you realize that A, we would try to be peaceful at first, and then B, that if we were shot at, then we would try to fight back. So there is a lot to lose from that. But thank you.